behavior disorders in the classroom. The three behavior disorders that I'm going to be discussing are anxiety disorders, autism spectrum disorders, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorders. All of these disorders are common in our students that we see on a day-to-day basis. Anxiety disorders are as common as 40 million people in the United States have been diagnosed with them. Autism disorders, 1 in 68 children will have or be diagnosed with autism, and 1 out of 42 of those will be our male students. It is one of the fastest growing development disorders currently in the United States. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorders, also known as ADHD, 3 to 7% of students will at some point during their educational experience be diagnosed with this disorder. Disorder that I'm going to look at is anxiety disorders. For each behavior disorder, I researched the causes, interventions, and then solutions to help those students become successful within the classroom. Students who are anxious are generally characterized by persistent or excessive unrealistic worry about everyday things. There currently is no known causes for anxiety disorders. There's been several different research and speculations on different causes, but none of them have been the lead cause for anxiety. The first one is malfunctions in the brain. The areas that help control their fear and emotions tend to have some the malfunction as far as the controlling of those types of emotions. Family backgrounds, they may inherit those types of things from one of the parents or both of their parents. And then traumatic life experiences, things that happen within their life, the death of a parent, any of those type of things that would be traumatic to a student could cause and or develop any type of anxiety. Different interventions for students with anxiety. One was cognitive behavioral therapy, and this is where this can be broken down into two different therapies. One can be cognitive therapy and then behavioral therapy. Now they are starting to combine both of them together, and the cognitive therapy helps to free the child from any negative thoughts, and then the behavioral therapy helps to teach them how to unlearn those negative attitudes and behaviors about themselves. So they're starting to put those two therapies together because they seem to be benefiting students with anxiety. Providing daily schedules for students in the classroom that helps to give them a sense of what to expect next, what they are doing within the day, that type of thing, so that they're not constantly worrying about what's coming next. And then also providing a safe place in the classroom. So when a student is starting to feel the anxiety or it's becoming to be too much for them, having teachers provide those safe place for the student to go where they feel like they can talk themselves down and give them a little bit of relaxation, that helps for the students. A solution that I found that seems to be the most beneficial is providing internet-based cognitive behavioral therapies, so that these therapies are more available to educators and professionals, so that they can use them whenever needed, and that they can provide those students with the immediate therapy that they need. Spectrum disorder was another behavioral disorder that I looked at on how it affects students within the classroom. Autism spectrum disorder has varying degrees of the disorder. Students with autism often have difficulties with social interactions, verbal and nonverbal communications, and then repetitive behaviors. The causes are currently unknown. Researchers are finding that there have been a number of rare gene changes that could be affecting the child. So the mutations within the gene are associated with autism. And then also there has been research that the disruption of normal brain development when they are in the womb could also play a role in the development of autism. Interventions for in the classroom, using time schedules and visual schedules for the students allows them to know when they are moving to the next activity. It helps to keep their behavior in check because they know what they're supposed to be doing at all times during the day. Social rewards, these can be helpful in rewarding them for positive behaviors. It can be anything from stickers to high fives to earning time using technology devices. It just depends on the student. Not one student is the same when it comes to autism. Also, labeling objects within the classroom can be helpful for students with autism. It helps them to visualize what you're talking about. Lots of visuals for them makes it very helpful. Solutions for students with autism, a lot of them can be placed in special education classrooms where they can be in a smaller, more intimate environment, working with a teacher who is certified in special education. Gives them a little bit more attention. And then also a one-on-one paraprofessional who can help to modify instructions. They give extra attention. They can work alongside the student, provide modified materials. They can also help implement behavior plans for students so that they are being successful. Last disorder that I took a look at was attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD. And this disorder is a health condition involving biological active substances in the brain. Students who suffer from ADHD often cannot control their actions. They are very impulsive, and it then leads to behavior problems. Causes of ADHD, again, like the other ones, there's no permanent known causes. There have been studies that are showing that it can be hereditary. They can inherit it from one of their parents. It also is a chemical imbalance within the brain, and also changes in the brain and the lack of nerve impulses that transmit correctly. They're to be able to control their attention for long periods of time. Interventions for ADHD students, they can use therapy balls, which are almost like exercise balls that the students can sit on, and it helps them to stay focused because they have to focus on balancing on the ball, so that can be a way to keep them focused in on what they're doing. Also, computer-based instruction, using the computer it gives a little bit more stimulation, and they can make modifications for the students if they need to learn it in a different way. It can outline objectives. It can provide immediate feedback for the student. It can break it into smaller chunks so that the student's able to understand the content a little bit better. So those are things that can be done within the classroom. And then some solutions that seem to work is a program that I've seen used. It's called a check-in, check-out program, where the student has a mentor within the school. They check in with that teacher at the beginning of the day. They then give them a chart about certain things that the student needs to work on as far as behavior, and then the teacher throughout the day rates their behavior, and then at the end of the day the student goes back and checks in with that mentor, and that mentor can provide positive feedback to the student. What did they do well? What could they work on better for tomorrow? So that seems to work very well. Much research on these behavior disorders. Providing teachers with valuable interventions will be very helpful to our students, as they will be able to become accommodated within the classroom setting. Also, providing teachers with professional development opportunities to expand their knowledge on these types of behavior disorders can be beneficial to the student themselves. Thank you.